I'm glad to see you again, and this is Grace Kariuki with Live by Design, and we are talking about self-regulation, we are talking about self-awareness, and we are talking about interpersonal relationships. And so we continue to talk about emotional intelligence, like I said in our last segment. Of course, I'm not going to exhaust what emotional intelligence is. I'm just going to give you tips on how you can be emotionally intelligent. Number one, self-awareness. Self-awareness is being aware of how you are emotionally. You need to be aware of your emotions, not just anger. Think about sadness. Think about jealousy. Think about envy. Think about sadness and happiness and all those emotions that we feel, disappointment and resentful, all those and bitterness, all those emotions that we feel. Understand how you feel them. Understand what triggers them. Understand the people that trigger those emotions in you. If you are within a relationship, understand how each person in your relationships triggers which emotions in you. There are people who come into your space and they trigger joy. There are people who come into your space, they trigger the fear. There are people who come into your space and they trigger anger. Be aware of all those emotions so that you can then do the next thing, which is self-regulation. Now, the thing is, let me say here, especially the emotion of anger. Anger, again, like a lot of us know, it's not the first emotion that you feel. It's usually the secondary emotion. It's the way that you react to something else. There are actually about 5 basic emotions that we feel, that we express through anger. One of that is loss and grief. The other one is disappointment. The other one is hurt. The other one is betrayal. The other one is rejection and sadness. When we feel those primary emotions, then the way that we express to those people who are around us is mostly through anger. And anger can be aggressive, so where I am expressing anger through my words, or I'm going to fight. Or I can be passive aggressive. That is where I am not going to say anything, but you can tell from my body language that I am not okay, I'm not happy, that I am angry. And if you ask me, I just tell you, no, I'm okay. But you can tell from my body language that I'm not okay. Now, there is also people who get these emotions, and instead of, when they feel the anger, instead of expressing that anger outwardly, they freeze. They are numb. They have learned how to numb their emotions, and you see nothing. They are just indifferent. And you want to know how you respond to these emotions. And also you want to know that if you stay with anger for a period of time, that anger does turn into resentment, and that resentment then turns into bitterness. If you're not dealing, if you're not being aware of these emotions and telling yourself, I need to deal with them, I need to self-regulate, then you are going to be one person who is always having difficult relationships with people, because you are not able, or you are not allowing yourself to talk through these emotions. So if you are choleric, like I mentioned earlier, if you are a choleric, then you fight. You will come out. Most of the times your anger will be destructive, but there is a way that your anger can be constructive. So unless you are aware, and then number 2, you decide to self-regulate, then your anger will always be destructive. And who does it destroy? It normally destroys your relationships, because you hurt people, and even though you feel relief because you have told them how you felt, but then you find that you cannot have very meaningful and deep relationships. People don't trust you. People feel afraid of you. And also you yourself, you are aware that people try to avoid you, and you yourself begin to feel bad about yourself. So you want to know, first of all, how you respond, or how you react to this emotion of anger. Now, if you are a melancholic, and that is now on the other spectrum of introverts. If you are melancholic, you're a deep feeler. So you feel that anger, you feel those emotions very, very deeply. But then you go another mile and you live within your head, because now you start analyzing, you overthink about things, you have conversations in your head with this person, but you don't have the courage to go out and say something. So what happens is that you turn that anger inward, and if you are not careful, you are going to harbor a lot of bitterness towards people and eventually towards yourself, because you feel you don't have the power to speak up. And so it's important, again, be aware of your emotions, be aware of how they affect you, and learn how to self-regulate, so that now you can be able to have better interpersonal relationships. You can also, people who are melancholic, they also use a lot of silent treatment. So they will go silent on you for days, but then there will come a time when they will, the kettle will suddenly start whistling, and they can't hold it in so long. They will come out and they will do something or say something that will surprise a lot of people. So it's important for you to know that about yourself. Self-awareness also means that you also find out whether you are a sanguine or a phlegmatic. Now, the sanguine is the social butterfly. Them, they don't hold on to things. They are really kind of very flighty and very happy in life. It's almost like they just fly through life. They don't find anything that keeps, they don't like negativity. They want to be happy all the time, and you can experience that person as being unrealistic, or living in a fantasy, or they are not serious, or they are childish, all that. You will experience them like that, and sometimes not take them seriously. Especially melancholics will not take the sanguine seriously. So it's important for you to know how you are, how the world experiences you, so that you can self-regulate and find ways so that you can be able to have more meaningful and deeper relationships. If you are a phlegmatic, phlegmatics are the people who don't like confrontation. So they are going to appease everyone. They are going to say everything is okay. But the way that you know they didn't agree with you, because they will never tell you they don't agree with you, is because you agree to do something together, but they will not follow through. They don't follow through with things that they don't like. The choleric and the phlegmatic fight a lot, because the choleric is very straightforward. The phlegmatic kind of they are passive, so they don't say exactly what they mean and exactly what they want. They beat around the bush, but they are very stubborn. They will not allow the choleric to boss them. So they will say yes to their face, but they will go behind their back and do something else. So be self-aware. Know how you are with people around you, so that you can learn how to create the atmospheres that you want, create the kind of life, the kind of relationships that you want. You cannot do that unless you are self-aware. So for those who are interested in learning more about yourself, go to www.temperamentquiz.com and find yourself that quiz. Take it and understand how you are, whether you are a choleric, melancholic, sanguine, or phlegmatic, so that you can know how you are going to self-regulate, how you are going to develop certain skills, so that you can have good relationships within your circles. So for today, that is where we are going to end, and that is my homework for you. Give us some feedback of what you are learning about yourself. It would be nice to hear how this is helping you, and also to see some of the challenges that you have. Maybe you have some questions on how I can be able to guide you on getting to that space of self-awareness. So have a good week, and God bless you.